All right, welcome everybody to Productivity Summit Day 2 of the 2019 Summit. And I'm Ray Sidney Smith. I'm your host here at Productivity Summit, and I'm really thrilled to welcome you all to Productivity Summit, whether you've been attending sessions from the start of the day or this is your first session that you're learning about and joining. This is the keynote presentation. And so I'm really excited to have you here and to have you enjoy the summit in whatever way that you want to experience it. And so I'm going to bring to the stage very shortly Demir Bentley from Lifehack Bootcamp. And so this session is called The Biggest Cover-Up in Productivity History. And so just a little bit about Demir so that you can get to know him a little bit more. And Demir is the head coach and co-founder of Lifehack Method, which consists of his two primary programs, Lifehack Tribe and Lifehack Bootcamp. Lifehack Bootcamp is a 60-day productivity coaching program that combines personal accountability with daily practice to unleash your best productivity every single day. Demir coaches thousands of clients each year, and his client list is riddled with high-profile names like Facebook, Google, Uber, PepsiCo, and Lexar. Demir and his wife, Carrie, who's amazing, live a completely nomadic lifestyle, living for 3 months at a time in different cities around the world. The last few years have seen them living on a boat in Croatia, the Basque Country of Spain, a retreat in Bali, and the islands of Hawaii. I'm just going to say it. You are in for a real treat having Demir here at the Productivity Summit. So I'm just going to step off stage and hand it over to Demir. Demir, welcome to Productivity Summit. Take it away.
Thanks so much. Hey, thanks everybody. Man, what a great introduction that was. Thanks so much, Ray. Okay, listen, I'm a productivity coach. I hate wasting people's time. So let's join in and let's just go for it, shall we? First of all, kudos for joining this, and thank you for everybody spending your time with me. I really value that. I just want you to know it's really important to me when people spend time with me. And I know that regular people actually don't even spend hours of their day on productivity training. So you're the sort of 1% of 1% of people who are like, no, I want to actually work on my work. So if there's one thing that you can write down at the top of your notes right now, just write down work on your work. And this is something that I feel like is my message that I'm banging from the top of the rooftops, that our game, is our work. If we're the LeBron James of our life, then our basketball is our work. And LeBron James didn't get good as he is by not actually working on what he does, right? So now, if you don't know who we are, let me get some slides going here so that you guys can get a little bit acquainted with us. Ray, you can let me know if my slides are coming through, right? Yeah, if there's any problems with it, you can just let me know. So for those of you who don't know who we are Lifehack Method. And Lifehack Method, what we do here is that we just show people how to get organized and productive so they can handle the strain of their amazingly full life. That's it. That's all that we do, right? And my clients love the different parts of their life, right? So there's this misconception that when people come to me, they're broken and bloody and their life is a mess. No, they love their husband, they love their career, they love their kids, they love their family, but taken together, it's just become too much to handle. Can you relate to that? That idea is oh my God, it's just I love my life, I love all of the pieces in it, but when you put it all together, I can't handle the strain of this amazingly full life. Awesome. So gang, can we admit it, right? If we're honest with ourselves, our number one burning desire is to have it all without doing it all, right? I mean, isn't that the number one most burning desire? If we're really honest with ourselves, what would that feel like to have everything you want in your career, in your household, in your family, and not be the person who's having to do all the work to hold it all together? So if you want that, then, maybe give me a little thumbs up or an amen. So what we're going to be talking about today is exactly that. We're going to be talking about a new breed of people who have found a way to have it all without doing it all. And we're going to be talking about what is this biggest cover-up in productivity history? What am I even talking about? And I'm going to discuss how the current environment around productivity and peak performance actually conspires to keep you confused and uncertain, which keeps you spending money, and it's a vicious circle. So the antidote to that, which I'm going to present today, is what we call the Lifehack Method. It's a dead simple 4-step process to get out of the loop of confusion and get back into taking action. This is sort of what we're famous for. And we're going to talk about why nothing works without accountability. Accountability is the secret weapon in your productivity success. Accountability is why 90% 90% of accountability structures fail. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the years of research that we've done around accountability groups. And I'm going to show you something that we call 4-layered accountability that you can put into your life right away. So, I love this idea, right? Sorry, I'm going to move. Yeah, here we go. There's one problem that I have with accountability, or sorry, productivity in this day and age. And I want to see if you agree with me. The problem that I have with productivity today is it's always about software, not execution, right? So what I mean by that is you've got more good ideas in the productivity space than you could possibly put to work. Yes? I mean, we've got great new books coming out every day. Even me as a productivity coach, this is all I do. And people are throwing books at me like, have you read this book? Oh my God, you've got to read it. Have you read this book? I mean, if all I had to do in my job was just read all the new ideas and concepts coming out into productivity, I wouldn't even be able to do that, right? So we are overloaded with ideas, but we're very, very short on execution. So the concepts I'm going to teach you today do work, just like many of the other concepts in productivity. But what really sparks massive change in your life is action. And this is going to be something that I'm going to communicate to you again and again throughout this, that at the end of the day, you could take almost any of the ideas out there in the productivity space. And if you actually just put one of them, if you put massive action behind just one of them, you get an incredible result. Okay? Okay. So for those of you who absolutely don't know me, I'm just going to be very, very short about my bio, because you might be like, who is this guy anyways? So my story is probably similar to your story. From a young age, I was taught what I was supposed to do: get good grades, go to the right college, choose a safe career path. And I did that dutifully. I went to a good school. I moved to New York. I paid my dues on Wall Street. I worked the 90-hour work weeks. And I finally ascended to the role of senior analyst on Wall Street, right? And I regularly appeared on CNBC and Fox Business News and Bloomberg. So if you zoomed back in a time machine and looked at me at that time in my life, from the outside, it would look great. It would look like I had arrived, that I was like at the top of the ladder. But the funny thing is, when you get to the top of the ladder, you can sort of see what the rest of your life looks like. And I hated it, right? And I get this all the time with my clients where they think, oh man, just once I get to like the senior partner of my law firm, then life's going to be good. And then they look at all the other senior partners and what's going to happen for them for the next 20 years. And they hate it, right? I didn't want my boss's life. I didn't want his boss's life. I didn't even want the CEO's life. So the higher I flew, the more I realized that I was actually trapped in this life that I really hated, right? And the big crash came in October of 2013. I had a stress-related illness that caused basically 3 surgeries. I had to go in for 3 surgeries. And afterwards, my doctor told me I had to stop working more than 40 hours a week, which is basically like telling a pro basketball player to play with one hand behind his back, right? You cannot work 40-hour weeks on Wall Street and expect it to last long. So, I was the breadwinner. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was certain that I was going to get fired, right? And so here's what happened. Within 2 months, I went from working, I'm sorry for this little pop-up here. I don't know how to get rid of it. I apologize. Within 2 months, I went from working 80 hours a week to 2 hours a week. 80 hours a week to 2 hours a week. That's a 40 times reduction in my workload. And I know you guys have heard about the 4-hour work week. I was actually working the 2-hour work week. And no, I did not get fired. I didn't get lectured. I didn't get called into the office. In fact, right after I started doing that, I got promoted, believe it or not. So the answer to that whole journey wasn't daydreaming. The answer was something that I called life hacking, right? And this, you've probably got your own word for life hacking in your lexicon. But life hacking is just creating a new way of operating where you're totally ignoring conventional wisdom and focusing on what works for you and what works for creating the life that you want. And so I discovered a new breed of, people that were doing this, life hackers. I'm just calling them life hackers. You can call them whatever you want, lifestyle designers. But life hackers are people who today are living badass lives of joy and success. They're not working the long hours. They're not stressing. And no, they didn't make $1 million or $1 billion to do it. They did it by hacking together strategies for working and living that just fall outside the traditional ways of doing things, right? That's a life hacker to me. And so today I've got that kind of life, the lifestyle that I always wanted, but doubted that anybody could have. I travel the world, going anywhere I want, whenever I want. I only do the work I love, which is now $1 million business. And I have other people who do the work that I don't want to be doing. I have a giant impact with my work, but I also work less than 30 hours a week. I've got financial freedom. I've got time freedom to invest in my health. I've got spiritual freedom, which means that I actually love my life. I don't want to kill myself. So I know what it takes to pull off that big transition where you feel stuck in your full life and you want to move to something that's actually working for you, right? So gang, I just want to be clear about what we're talking about with life hackers, right? We're talking about really big results. So some of the people in our community, these are the results that we've gotten this year, not like we've been there for 5 years. So if I could pull from my best success stories, it would be even better. But just this year, we had a woman named Alexis go from running 3 stores to 100 stores. We had a woman named Dr. Brandy go from having 1 house and 1 office to 2 houses and 3 offices. We had a woman named Aga who was struggling to create the time for a side business. And now she has 4 trucks and 20K in revenue. And we have a ton of other stories. You can go to our website and read it all. I'm not going to waste time here for it, right? But I just want to point out that people are doing this today. I'm not trying to polish my own lantern here and show you guys how good we are. No, these people did the work, right? They put a methodology into place, they hacked their life, and they created an incredible result this year, right? So I want to talk, let's get into the content portion of this talk, right? So I want to talk about technology, right? Because a lot of people will come to me and say, Demir, it's about technology, right? I've mastered Evernote, I've mastered Asana. It's about Trello, right? Or is it another program, right? And I just keep getting people coming to me, with this program, that problem. Guys, it's not about the programs, right? This is sort of like a major misconception that we've got around technology, right? All through the 80s and 90s, we were promised that technology was going to set us free. We'd have emails and phones and calendars and instant messengers, and we were going to be more connected than ever before. And the idea was that the more that we talk to each other and the more we communicate with each other, the more productive we're going to be, right? We're going to get more done at work, we're going to get paid more, and we're going to go home earlier, right? And that's how it happened, right? No, the joke's on us. Technology itself became the new prison, right? The new hamster wheel, as it were. And now, it's so interesting. I always get clients who come to me and they're saying, oh, I thought this phone was going to help me get more work, but actually just brought work into my home and now I'm doing more work. So the weird thing is that productivity is actually flattened while our pay has been going down. And at the same time that we earn less, we're actually working longer hours. Check this, guys. The average worker, just any old schlub, is working a 50-hour work week. If you're an executive or a business owner, you're probably working close to a 70-hour work week based on this data. And I just had a client who came to me and was working a 90-hour work week. He was working 6 days a week. He was proud that he could eat a dinner with his son 1 day a week. He spent 1 day a week with his son, 1 meal, 1 day a week, right? I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So this is what I call the cult of technology. And we know now that this doesn't work. We know that technology does not lead to a happier life, right? And there's also another cult, which is called the cult of information. And this is probably the cult that you're in because I was in it too. If I could just read every productivity book, get all the ideas in here, then it would work. But somehow, I don't know, I've been doing that for like 4 or 5 years and I still feel scattered and like, what gives, right? The problem with the cult of information is that we value knowledge above anything else. And we brag about reading 50 books a year, but we don't put it into action. And this, my friends, leads to the biggest cover-up in productivity history, right? The biggest cover-up in productivity history is, yes, information is cheap. And yes, it's fun to consume, but it's absolutely freaking useless until you put it into action. And it's actually worse than useless. It's counterproductive because when you're over consuming information, you don't know who to trust, what to do. So you're chasing the next New York Times bestseller. You're hoping that you're going to read in the next book or in the next blog or in the next course, you're going to get that little piece of information that's going to clarify everything, and then you're going to take action. But the problem is that too much information actually creates confusion and anxiety and spiraling. Yes? Yeah, absolutely. So this gives way to what I call the vicious cycle, right? The vicious cycle, okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. The vicious cycle is where you get lost in the information, you're seeking out more information, you get confused, your performance still sucks, it erodes your confidence, right? Now, I wanna be clear, all those self-help gurus out there, they didn't create this with some diabolical intention, but that's sort of where we're at today. And I can tell you, I know a lot of those gurus, everybody sort of knows it. Everybody knows that like the next book that they're gonna put on the market is not gonna change the base problem out there, which is that people aren't taking action, right? So, but they're going to put their book out there anyways because it helps them. So this is $1 billion industry now that's premised on you staying broken, not fixed, because the more broken you are and the less that you believe in yourself, the more that you're going to reach for that next book or that new idea. It's like the diet industry, right? And as long as I get paid, we, the gurus, as long as we get paid, who cares, right? So if you look at the data, you can see our lives have objectively not gotten better. Even as in the last 3 decades, we've had so much information poured onto us around how we can make our lives better. So the answer, guys, is simple. We got to quit the cults and join a different cult. And that cult is called the cult of action, right? The cult of action. So in my communities, in my coaching, we focus a lot less on information. In fact, I put the horse blinders in and I tell people to stop taking in more information. Unsubscribe from the blogs, unsubscribe from the newsletters, remove the news feeds and notifications. We have to declutter our mental space. We have to kick people out of our brains, the media companies, the gurus, the advertisers. Choose somebody you love and follow their methodology. It doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be anybody that I say, but pick one thing and declutter everything else, right? Awesome. So the simple remedy here is taking action. And you guys know this, right? Success is 90% 90% perspiration, 10% inspiration. But we don't like the perspiration part, do we? Right? You know, can't we just muscle it through on our own? Can't we just white knuckle it? Yeah, but there's actually an easier way, and it's probably something you've already been using, and it's something that you don't know, and it's accountability, guys. Good old-fashioned accountability. The American Society of Training Development says you have a 65% chance, higher chance of completing a goal if you commit it to somebody else. And if you have a specific accountability appointment with a person, you increase your chance of success by up to 95%. So I want to be clear. Yes, the biggest cover-up, let me just make sure that you're really understanding for your notes here. What is the biggest cover-up in productivity history? It's that we all know that the courses and the books and the ideas we're putting out there, yes, they work, but you're probably not going to put them to work. And the more that we put it out there, the less chance you're actually going to take an action because you're so overwhelmed, and it benefits us. That's the biggest cover up in productivity history. And I don't take any pleasure. I love most of these gurus and amazing people. I love them. It's not a diabolical plan. It's just sort of like an inefficient game theory solution that we've arrived at, right? So we benefit, you don't benefit. That's the biggest cover up in productivity history. And what I'm telling you here is the antidote is clearing your mental space, locking in on one thing that you know is going to work, and actually taking action into that thing. Now, if action makes you feel a little bit itchy and uncertain, then here's what I'll say. Then what you want to be doing is you want to be looking for accountability, because accountability increases the chance that you're going to take an action by up to 95%. Just want to be really clear. Want to make sure I'm drawing the line between these different points that I'm making, right? What is accountability? It's just being part of a group that exerts positive social pressure, which is a powerful evolutionary tool. Don't get me wrong. We didn't just make this up. It's deeply programmed inside of us, and it changes our behavior, and it helps us accomplish big goals and take big action, right? Quick example just to prove this. If I said right now, hey, I want you to go jump into a icy cold pool at 5 a.m. in the morning, will you do it? Like 90% of you guys, 99% of you guys would be like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. So, okay, great. Now, what if I said that every single one of your coworkers and friends and people that you respect is doing it? Now, all of a sudden, changes the equation. Now, all of a sudden, you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be the only one left out. This seems sort of cool. Everybody else is doing it. So accountability and positive social pressure, group pressure, vastly increases our chances that we will do a hard thing. Okay? Awesome. So let's talk about how to get that accountability. This is going to be sort of like the educational portion of this. And again, this is all about how to get accountability and take action. So please take notes. How do you get accountability? I think that real accountability is often missing or faked. It's missing or faked. It's sort of the ignored stepchild of the performance industry, because everybody out there is looking at scaling, right? Like the coaches don't want to get closer to you. They want to get further away from you. Right? They don't want to spend more time with you. They want to spend less time with you. It's all about scale, making more money, right? Our research that we've done over the last 5 years on accountability structures that work and those that don't, it's an incredible project that we've been doing. Our research found that 90% of accountability structures fail within just 2 weeks. Does that gel with you? If you think back to the accountability that you had with your best friend or coworker, 90% of accountability structures deteriorate and fail within 2 weeks. But we found some that actually lasted for years. We found some that took people to the peak of what was possible for them. So the question that you should be answering is, what's the difference? If action is the key, sorry, I'll say that one more time. If action is the key to putting these productivity paradigms and systems to work, and accountability is the key to taking action, then what are the types of accountability structures that actually work, and what are the ones that are doomed to fail? So right now, and quickly, I'm gonna teach you a super hack. It's called 4-layered accountability. This is something you are gonna be able to use this for the rest of your life. And this is basically, I want you to think about this as 5 years worth of research sort of condensed down into 15 minutes. This is my little TED talk, right? On what we learned on researching this. What we learned is that we did find accountability structures that were incredibly successful in taking people and getting them to commit to bold action and pushing them past their layers of uncertainty and doubt and getting incredible results. But there were always at least 2 or 3 of these 4 layers, if not all 4 layers involved, okay? So layer number 1, write this down, okay? Layer number 1 is what we call a bar raiser. Now, often you could call that a coach, but I don't want you to get confused about a coach. It could be your boss, it could be a pastor, a mentor, a teacher. Yes, it could be a coach. A bar raiser is someone who raises the bar on you, right? They create a bubble between you and them where status quo isn't acceptable, average performance isn't acceptable. These are the people in your life when you think about it was my drum teacher. I used to play drums. And so my drum teacher, I had a soccer coach. It could have been your water polo coach or your first boss. It's somebody who looked at you and saw your best possible effort and your best possible results. And they wouldn't tolerate any of your sad excuses or the BS. They only wanted the best from you. Right? Do you guys just really quickly think about that and drop it if we have a chat box here? Drop it into the chat box. Who was the first bar raiser in your life? It could have been a parent, a coach, a boss. Think about, now here's the challenge. And I want you to do this for every single layer that I'm going to lay out. I want you to think about the last time you really accomplished something extraordinary. Think about that. I mean, really, I know it's easy to sit here and be like, well, he's saying to think about it, but I'm not going to think about it. Just take a second. Think about the last time you really blew yourself away. You did something you didn't think that you were able to do. You moved through your excuses and limitations and achieved something new. Was there somebody in your life who was a bar raiser that was encouraging you to get to that level? Maybe, maybe not, but I want you to think about that, okay? Next layer, the second layer, we're gonna move fast, is a team. A team is that second layer. It's people you respect. Now, when I say a team, don't get too carried away with that word. It could be a church congregation. It could be a support group. It could be a team at work, right? It could actually be a soccer team, right? It's just a group of people who you respect, who are like-minded, who are moving towards the same goal as you, and you guys are reinforcing each other with positive social pressure and accountability, right? And so that means you really have to respect the people around you, right? And there's a lot of competition going on. Let's be honest. When one member of your team runs the 4-minute mile, you can't really make excuses and say it's not possible. You're sort of like, oh God, Barry over there ran the 4-minute mile, so I guess I better just get going and improve my time, right? So teams help us they help us to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and get in the game. And again, I want to orient you guys here. The reason I'm giving you these layers is so that you can stop spinning in the cycle, the vicious cycle of too much information and inaction, and get into action, okay? Layer number 3 is a buddy, someone who's responsible for you and you're responsible for them. This is the most misunderstood layer. People think they know exactly what this means, and they're absolutely freaking wrong. They think it means call my best friend and my best friend will be my accountability buddy. No way. The worst potential buddy for you is somebody who has emotional bribery over you. You can't have a buddy be your wife or your husband or your best friend or a sister or brother. Not gonna work. You want it to be somebody who's far enough away from you that you can hold them accountable without feeling that your relationship is on the line, right? Now, the way that a buddy system works, I get so many people who said, yeah, I had a gym buddy. I had a workout buddy and it didn't work out, right? And here's the way to make a buddy work. They have to be responsible for you and you're responsible for them. So the best way to make a gym buddy workout is at the end of the gym workout, you take off one of your shoes and they take off one of their shoes and exchange a shoe. Think about this. So they're leaving the gym with one of their shoes and one of your shoes, and you're leaving the gym with one of your shoes and one of their shoes. What does that mean? That means tomorrow at 6 p.m., when it comes time to work out, no matter how many great excuses you have, if you don't show up at the gym, not only can you not work out, they can't work out. That, my friends, is a buddy relationship that works. Not like, oh, we're a buddy. No. Then you just call each other and say, oh, hey, man, I can't come to the gym. You absolutely have to create a scenario in a buddy relationship where they cannot perform at their highest level unless you perform at your highest level. So you're literally tied together, sink or swim. You get that? Just say yes if you get that. Awesome. So the fourth layer and the final layer is public accountability. It's a public declaration that commits you to the result. Now think about in sports. As a sports team, public accountability is built right into being a professional basketball player. If you fail and you choke in a game, you can't hide from your fans. It's built right in. It's on the cover of the local newspaper. It's on the TV, screens, right? We don't have that in our life though. Think about that. If you've been meaning to write a book and you didn't, nobody usually finds out. We just sort of like quietly bury the dead bodies of our failures and just hope that nobody will know, right? So public accountability is creating opportunities for public declarations to Facebook, to a friend group, to a mastermind, to your office, maybe to your clients, right? Let me tell you, when you tell your clients that you're going to deliver something on a certain time, that puts you on the hook, right? We actually did this with a launch recently where we actually took 100 people's money and said it's going to be launched on this date. And I'll tell you what, we made that date, right? Awesome. So all of this is a way that you can get more skin in the game. I'm going to say it one more time. The biggest cover up in productivity history, let's see what this is. Yeah, the biggest cover up in productivity history is that we all know that we're feeding you more information and that information is not making you more likely to take action. It's making you less likely to take action, but we do it anyways because it makes us money. That's the biggest cover up in productivity history. And the way to counteract that is to choose one paradigm, one guru, one thing you're going to follow and block everything else out and take massive action. And I'm not even stopping there. I'm saying the key to taking massive action is creating 4 layers of accountability in your life. If you can only get one of these layers, fine. If you can get 2, even better. If you can get 3 of the 4 or 4 of the 4, God bless it. Go for it, right? It's all a way for you to put skin in the game so that you can harness your evolutionary instinct and desire to fit in and take action and move through excuses. Okay? Awesome. So those are your 4 layers of accountability. I'm going to check in with our host here. How am I doing on time? What do you think?
You're great. We're 30 minutes in, and so you have about 15 minutes.
Okay, great. Why don't I do this then? I'm actually going to tell you, Ray, do you think it'd be good if I tell you all the ways that you could screw up these 4 layers?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so let's go even deeper and let's talk about the right way to use these layers and the wrong way, right? So what's the wrong way to leverage a coach or a bar raiser? Let's say Ray is my coach, right? And I want to leverage him as a bar raiser. Let me talk about the wrong way to leverage Ray as a bar raiser. The first wrong way is to expect that Ray is going to do the work for me, right? And I know that if you say that out loud, it feels stupid, but that's really what people think. They think I'm going to pay Ray and somehow magically the work is going to happen. No, I pay Ray to hold me accountable, but I still have to do the work. Another way to get it wrong is I'll spend more time on my coaching sessions with Ray trying to get him to buy into my bullshit of my limited beliefs and my, my low self-esteem and my low vision for myself. I'm trying to convince him that I'm right. What's going to happen? Eventually, Ray is going to be like, I guess you are right. You aren't able to do anything, right? So, and there's so many of these common excuses I've heard over and over. Now, what's the right way then? Well, the right way is to believe in what Ray says about me more than I believe what I think about myself. So Ray says, Demir, I think you're capable, but I think, I don't know. I need to believe what Ray says. Another way is to fake it till I make it. Maybe I can't believe it, but at least I'm going to take the actions and fake it, right? I'm substituting my coach's vision for me instead of my vision for myself, right? So everybody has a low vision for themselves. You're not There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing screwed up with you if you've got a low vision of yourself. That's how we're built. We need to have people in our life that raise the bar, right? So, and because of that, you want to get as much exposure to your coach as possible. So my coach, I'm going to want to go to his live events. I'm going to want to do as many one-on-one calls, be ready for those one-on-one calls. I'm going to do the homework. I want to get as much exposure to the coach as possible. So when he asks a question, I'm in the front row and I'm raising my hand. I'm like, me, right? And those people seem stupid. We're always like, oh, that guy's such a teacher's pet. But those are the men and the women who get the results, right? So, and here's the most important one. I really want to emphasize this one, okay? You want to show improvement to your bar raiser every single time you meet. Let's say you're meeting weekly. Every week you want to bring back something and show them, hey, listen, I'm moving the ball forward. Because we have this idea that just because I pay Ray to be my coach, that he's enrolled in my success. No, he's not. I can tell you as a coach, I've got people who pay me and I do my best for them, but they haven't enrolled me in their success. I don't believe yet. Why? Because every single week they come back, they're just giving me excuses and they're not showing me results. And by the end of it, they get the vague sense that I don't believe in them because they've proven to me that there's nothing to believe in. So if you want a coach or a mentor or a pastor or a boss to believe in you, then the number one thing you have to do and get right is that every time you meet, you need to bring back something. Even if you couldn't get a result, show them an effort, right? Show them that you're enrolled in your success and then they will get enrolled in your success. So those are the ways to get it right with the bar raiser and to get it wrong with the bar raiser, okay? I hope you guys are writing this down. This is basically 5 years of research condensed into 15 minutes. All right, number 2, what's the wrong way to leverage a buddy? I mean, we all know this, make it all about you. Make it about you. If you make it all about you, that other person is gonna be like, you know, Susie doesn't care about me. She's always talking about herself and all her problems, but she doesn't ask about me. She's inconsistent. She's inconsiderate. She's negative. She's using this as free therapy, basically. She's like vomiting everything on me. And not only that, she's not even consistent on the calls. She doesn't even make all of the calls. She doesn't show up, right? And of course, just like we said with a coach, you need to show improvement to your buddy, right? Who's gonna wanna be a buddy with somebody who comes every single week and is like, I didn't do it again. So sorry, another excuse, right? Eventually that person's just gonna be like, dude, I'm out. I don't wanna be buddies with you. Now, the right way is what I call the give a shit meter, right? The give a shit meter is when you're talking with somebody and they can tell you really give a shit about them. Sorry if I'm talking really frankly, but that's what I'm talking. It's like they can sense that you're asking questions, that you're interested, right? That you're really there and present for their success. And of course, the right way is you're coming and you're showing improvement. So you show up, I show up on my call with Susie as a buddy, and I'm saying, Susie, how did your week go? Tell me everything. Great. Oh, my week? I killed it. I crushed it. Here's what I did. And then I did this and I broke through on this. That's the kind of buddy that we want to be in a relationship with, right? So you got to be that buddy to have that buddy, right? Of course, there's the team, right? What's the wrong way to engage in a team? Try to be a wallflower, be in listen. I call it listen only mode. I've got these people in Lifehack tribe, which is our team. I've got these people who I'm calling them, I'm reaching out to them, I'm tagging them, and they're just sort of like trying to play it cool at the back of the room. Like they're always like this at the back of the room, never really wanting to make themselves known. They're like stalkers standing outside the window, like watching. It's like no way to engage in a team, right? The right way is the opposite. Get out there, tell your story, respond to people's posts, create value, right? Like, you know, even I call it create a tribe within a tribe. We've got hundreds of people in Lifehack Tribe, but I encourage them to create mini tribes where they go to 4 or 5 other people that they really admire in the tribe and they create little mini tribes within the tribe, right? That's the right way to engage a team. And finally, what's the wrong way to leverage a public accountability, right? The wrongest way is just don't leverage it at all. I see this all the time. People, they just don't do this. They don't put declarations out there publicly that they can be held to. In fact, the opposite, they do everything they can not to be held accountable publicly. They're trying to avoid public accountability like the plague, right? Or another wrong way is they're they sort of declare these goals, but they're not really planning it out. They don't have a plan. They don't, I call it create a bridge between where you're at and where you want to be. And then when it comes time to hold themselves accountable, they just conspicuously like disappear. This is the person who says, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year and I'm going to post on Facebook every single day, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, you're like, huh, I haven't seen any posts from that person. And you never do, right? So that's really important. It's important that if you're going to leverage public accountability, that you follow through with it, win, lose, or draw, right? And of course, the right way is just declare your goals, right? Make it juicy, make it accountable, right? Have consequences and show up to hold yourself accountable no matter what. That is it. Ray, let me check in with you. How are we feeling?
Hey there. Doing great. Doing great. The audience is really just enjoying it. I'm going to just read some of the comments that are coming out. Wow, very cool. Yeah.
Can I just, let me just pull it all together.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What is the biggest cover up in productivity history? It is that we all know that we're writing books and we're making courses and we're putting more information in blogs and podcasts out there. And we know over here that you're not putting it to work. In fact, the smarter among us are realizing that the more that we put out, the less action that you're taking. And the evil people, the people on the dark side of the force, sort of like that because they know that the more that you get overwhelmed, the more your confidence is going to erode, and you're going to need these books. Oh, maybe the next book or the next thing will finally get me out of this state of like overwhelm, and it's never going to happen. And I also told you what the antidote is, and you know it. It's like advanced common sense. You need to put the horse blinders on, choose one methodology. Ray, I'm going to choose you. I like what you think. I like how you present this. I'm going to choose your methodology. I'm going to follow that, right? And I'm going to take action on that. And what happens is within 2 weeks, within 1 month, you're going to see a result, and your confidence is going to start building. Now, action is the key. Block the information, quit the cult of information, quit the cult of technology, and take an action. And within 2 weeks, you're going to start feeling that confidence and you're going to see the result. But what's the key to action? Because everybody's like, oh, I've tried to take action before and it never worked. The key to action is accountability. And we've done a 5-year research project on what works. And it's as simple as 4 layers of accountability. Have a coach, have a team, have a buddy, have public accountability. And if you can't get all 4, try to get 2, try to get 3, right? That is the secret to taking massive action, getting your confidence back, seeing real results happen, okay? That, I hope, takes you full circle, guys.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for this, Demir. And so just a couple comments from the audience. We have folks noting, wow, very cool. Looks like I will soon be having it all. That was early on in the presentation from Melanie there. And a couple of questions as we make our way through. Amazing content. There's all kinds of fun things happening in here. And so let's start off with questions then. So let's see here. Bear with me as I scroll through. Do you have by chance a citation for the ASTD, ATD data
yes,
that you
let
mentioned?
me see if I can get that.
And then while you do that, I will continue to make some notes. Several people had noted who their bar raisers were while you were asking, and so some people's noted their parents. Linda's art teacher is a bar raiser. Bruno's Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach pushed him beyond his physical limits. And then Julie noted her mastermind group gave her the accountability to help her do the presentation that she did today at Productivity Summit. So that was wonderful.
Great.
That was wonderful. She said it was validating and very meta. I agree with you, Julie. And okay. Do you have
I'll
that?
just jump in and say that I dropped the accountability. We actually have a download. It's free. You put in your email and name and all that, and then it'll send it to you by email. It's called the 4 Layers of Accountability download. So guys, check that out. And if you want to get more involved with Lifehack Tribe, I mean, basically just this is what we do. We don't put out new books. We don't put out new courses. What we do is we actually help people take the information they've already purchased and bought and actually put it into work. So that's what we do in Tribe. If that sounds interesting, you can just go to lifehackbootcamp.com and check us out more there.
Wonderful. Next question I have from, I think, Lee, and it says, how do you find these people, the right buddy slash bar raiser slash team? How do you find those folks?
Okay, so this is going to sound like a shameless plug, and it sort of is and it sort of isn't. Like, it's hard, right? Like, I think we make it out as if like accountability is like table salt, where you can be like, oh, let me just sprinkle some accountability on it, right? Ooh, that makes everything better, right? But the truth is that 90% of accountability relationships fail within the first 2 weeks. That's the main finding of our research project, right? And so what's interesting about real accountability structures that work is that you find that somebody worked really freaking hard to create it, right? And it doesn't sustain itself. It's not this sort of like, oh, accountability. We've got this message out there. It's like, accountability is so easy. Just go find a buddy, just go find a team. It's like, no, it's really hard. Somebody had to put a lot of work and a lot of intention to create a community and a team and buddies. And so that's what we do in Tribe, is we create those 4 layers of accountability. And that's the value that people see in joining Tribe is, oh, I get it. They've actually created this so that I can just buy into it. But having said that, I created it for myself before it existed in Tribe. And you just have to do a lot of like, I mean, the simple answer is you just got to grind. To find a good buddy, you got to go through a bunch of different buddies. I know it's like to find a good spouse, like if to find a good husband, you gotta kiss a lot of frogs, right? And the truth is that to find a really good buddy, somebody who's on the same wavelength as you gotta have a lot of buddies and just be like, hey, thanks a lot, but it didn't work. And to find a good coach or a mentor, actually on the coach and the mentor tip, I think what's cool is it used to be like we had to wait for somebody to mentor us. Now we can actually pay to play. So for me, I never really had a great mentor in my life. I never had somebody who said, yeah, Demir, I believe in you so much that I'm just gonna volunteer all this time to coach you. Never really happened for me. But I was able to just take some of my hard-earned money and go to the people I admire and be like, I'll pay you this, will you coach me? And they're like, yes. And so although it's more transactional today, that's sort of good, because then you don't have to wait to try to find like a mentor who's like willing and ready and in the right place in their life to coach you. You can actually just pay Ray and Ray will coach you, right? I don't know if Ray coaches, but like you get the point, right? Oh, am I still there? I got a weird notification. Am I still here, guys?
You're there. You're there. I was just trying to fix the video. For some reason, your video, but don't worry, you keep going. You're there.
Okay. My B. So I think the simple answer to your question is, it's if you're going to do this alone, you can do it, but it's going to take a lot of hustle and a lot of sweat and tears, and maybe a couple moments where you have to take 3 steps back in order to take 5 steps forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm going to put us in gallery view, and hopefully you all can see Demir. I'm not quite sure why it's not showing your video, but couple other questions. It says, Demir is dancing for you. Ken asks the question, love the gym buddy example, trading shoes, I think it was. What would be an equivalent example for personal productivity? Is there some other equivalent example you can provide for Ken?
Yeah, it's interesting. And so what we do in not in Tribe, but in our more advanced bootcamp, is that we've created a system where, we have champagne moments for the week. This big thing that Demir's going to do, this big thing that Ray's going to do for the week. It's called the champagne moment. And then we celebrate people for having completed their champagne moment at the end of the week. And you only actually get celebrated if you and your buddy accomplish your champagne moment, not if just you do, right? And so that's a way of us saying, hey, you're only going to get celebrated if Demir and Ray both. And so that creates that sense of like, I know I'm going to get my champagne moment done this week. And then I'm going to go like, hey, Ray, how you doing, buddy? Like, we only win if both of us win, right? And so you have to actually like engineer and gamify some of these different methodologies to create the same sensation that you would get, say, from like trading gym shoes, because that's so simple and so like immediate, but to bring that into your work life is a little bit harder, right? You have to engineer that and get clever about that.
Wonderful. Got a couple other really great comments here. Awesome presentation. I enjoyed the enthusiasm and energy along with the content from Denise. Amanda noted, I love this quote unquote fake success idea. Same could be said for physical organization too. And again, quoting you, if I only get more containers, organizers, filing systems, I think, she was kind of thinking about that. Andrea says, boom. Bruno says it wraps up perfectly. Jolene noted, wonderful presentation. She says she commits to taking action and using the 4 layers. Oh, she says, I commit to taking action and using the 4 layers. That's awesome. Wonderful to hear. And she has been known to use productivity to procrastinate. So have we all. So you're welcome. And thank you, Jolene.
Guilty.
And so I think that wraps up our questions so far. If anybody has any further questions, go ahead and throw those in, and we'll do that. And so, any final thoughts from you, Demir, as we bring ourselves to the close of this session?
Yeah, I would just say and I believe this. I really believe it to my heart. We actually have had our ability to believe in ourselves sort of consistently eroded, right? And if you were alive in like the 90s or the 80s, you remember what it was like to not be like bathing in this like bathtub of distraction, right? Too much input, too much media, too many ideas, right? And most of us can remember a time when we could sit down and we could actually like concentrate for like an hour or 2 or 3, when we actually did things, when we actually accomplished things. And so all I would say is, we can get back to a state of nature. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. You have the ability to put something into action as soon as a week or 2 weeks later, see it come back and be like, oh my God, that worked. We get so used to this cycle of, we try something, we don't put enough action intention into it, it fails, then it erodes our confidence. And we try something new, we don't put enough action to it, it fails, it erodes our confidence. So we keep eroding more and more and more. And then we get to a place where we're like, well, I just don't believe that anything that I do will work. That's BS. And all I can say is that if you can get to the point where you can really sort of put on the horse blinders and push people out of your brain, push the media out of your brain, push all the gurus out of your brain, push all the newsletters out of your email, simplify, and then focus on action. Within a week or 2, I get clients being like, oh God, I remember what this feels like. I remember what it feels like. And this is me, right? That you can get back to a more essential version of you. So I just want to let people know, like, don't put success on this like big hill over there. Like, oh, maybe next year, like I'll get it. Like, if you can actually get focused and you can actually limit the amount of inputs into your brain and get some solitude, get yourself back a little bit, hear your own voice as you're thinking, and take action. I mean, it doesn't take long. 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, and you're back, and you're like, I'm back, baby. I'm back. So like, I want to tell people, believe in yourself. You can't take action, you can't get results.
Wonderful. So, Demir, how can folks keep up with you, learn more about you? I'm hearing in the chat,
you
people
can't.
want your.
You can't keep up with me. I go. No, just joking. So we have like, we're really committed to putting out a ton of like really great information. So check out our YouTube. It's lifehackbootcamp.com or Lifehack Bootcamp on YouTube. Our website is lifehackbootcamp.com, and we are just like, we throw a ton of free information on there. If you want to join me and check out what this whole thing called Tribe is, you can go to lifehackbootcamp.com and look up the Tribe and see if it's for you, or reach out to me, Demir at lifehackbootcamp.com. That's DEMIR at lifehackbootcamp.com. Say, hey, dude, like your style. We'd love to learn more about what you do. Yeah, so maybe the short answer would be check out our website, lifehackbootcamp.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Demir, for all of your work and in the productivity space just generally, and for your presentation today. It was just a lot of fun to watch, and I learned so much watching it with everybody else.
It went fast, right? I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, dang, we're done, baby.
All right. So for folks who are watching the live stream, thank you so much for being here and for being in this session with Demir. And so we have a couple of things. I'm going to be taking a break for lunch in real time. And so I will be incommunicado for like the next hour or so. So bear with me as I go nourish myself and get myself ready for that. But after lunch, we are coming back, and then we have 4 speakers in all 4 tracks coming up to us. So we have so you're all aware, we have in the 4 tracks, we have Tan Pham from Asian Efficiency. In track 2, we have in the technology track, we have Tim Stringer from Learn OmniFocus. Track 3, organization, we have Kim Oser speaking. And then in track 4, Cheryl Tan will be speaking, and hers will be on video marketing. So all kinds of exciting stuff going on. So check out the schedule in the Summit portal. If you can't for some reason find it, go ahead and shoot me a message. I'll be happy to send you a link to that. And otherwise, I hope you guys all have a really wonderful rest of the day at the Summit. And if you're watching this in the replays, I hope you're enjoying replays and scrubbing back and forth to all the various wonderful content. And we have the mega productivity networking event that's happening at 5 p.m. So make sure that you RSVP in the portal for that, and check out our exhibitors, check out the digital interactives room, and then the virtual swag bag will be going out at the end of the day. So so that you'll see that post and notification about the virtual swag bag and all the digital goodies that the various speakers have tossed into it. So again,
I can tell you, Ray, you're being way too good to these people. We don't have a digital swag bag in our summit. You guys should feel really lucky.
Well, you could add one. You could add one in the next one, and I'll be happy to throw something in there. So, with that, I'm going to close this live stream out. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here at Productivity Summit. We'll see you. We'll see you later on in the summit.
Bye, everyone.